Hi, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Book Reviews. Shake the whole fucking table. Shake the whole table. Why don't you, Candice? Why don't you? It's fine. I'm recording on carpet. It's fine. Anyway, hi. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. I'm your psychotic host, Candice. Thank you for joining me for another episode. I really appreciate it. You're the best. In today's video, we're back with another review. And not only are we back with another review, we're back with the first book in a brand new series. Because I just don't learn my fucking lesson. Because I love to start a series, start reading it, start reviewing it, get a few books in, fall off. Start a new series, rinse, repeat. That's what I do. So, we're gonna try our best not to do that with this one though. Because I'm in it, I'm deep in it. And when I say deep in, I mean like 3 books. I'm already 3 books in. But in today's video, we're actually doing the first book because I'm behind in recording. Me behind in something? Procrastination? Me? No. Come on. So in today's video, kids, we will be reviewing this book. This is the first book in Tillie Cole's Hades Hangman series. And it is called It Ain't Me, Babe. Spoiler alert. It is him. Oh God, it is him. Everything about it is him. I'm obsessed. Okay. Now, as you can clearly see from this hunka burnin' love on this motorcycle, that this is an MC romance. Is this the first MC romance I've ever reviewed on this channel? Maybe. Maybe. It might be. Is this the first MC romance I've ever read? I don't think so. But it's definitely one of the first. I don't have a lot of practice with, like, no. I don't read a lot of MC romance. Mostly just because I tried it once. Cough, Gianna Darling. Cough, Justice for Mute. Hashtag Justice for Mute. And she ruined my life. And I DNF the rest of the series. So let's just say me and MC romance don't have a great history together. But my BFF across the pond bought me this book. She gifted this to me because she loves the series and she loves Tillie Cole. This is my first ever Tillie Cole book also, by the way. I know. It's been sitting on my shelf for like a year. As a bookstagrammer, if you have a bookstagram account, this won't shock you because you understand the plight of the TBR. Everyone's TBR on Bookstagram is out of control. So it's perfectly normal to say, hey, I've owned a copy of this book for a year and I'm just now getting a chance to read it. Perfectly acceptable, perfectly normal. It happens to all of us. Cut me a fucking break, okay? But here we are. We've gotten there. We're finally here. Do I regret waiting so long to read this book? Fuck yes. Because I loved it. I loved it so much. Mostly, I love sticks. God. Okay, we're gonna get into it. Let's do the deets of the book first and read the blurb, and then we'll get into it. Because something about this man. Okay, now, this book and all the books in this series are free to read with KU. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read all these books for free. For free, okay? If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can do so for the price of $2.99 right now. $2.99. That's a steal. Most Kindle books are like $4.99. $3.99, $4.99? This one's $2.99. Don't walk, run. If you want this lovely trade paperback that I'm holding, this is a nice little thick boy. You can get it for the price of $14.99. That is also a very reasonable price for a trade paperback. This book is also available in audio. I listened to the audio. I don't remember who narrates the audio. The female voice was I won't say weird, but okay. There's like some cult shit going on in this book, and because of that, the female narrator had to put on a voice for the female character that was very pilgrimish. It's very difficult to describe, but very like I've never left my home type voice, like I've been raised in captivity, right? So it was kind of, it took a minute to get used to, but after that it was fine. Like you get used to it because you realize that it's meant to sound that way, right? The male narrator, I will say that the male narrator sounded older than I expected the character to sound. Does that make sense? So like when you choose a narrator, you choose them based on their voice, obviously, because it's an audiobook. But when I listen to a narrator, I envision that voice as the character. So if you choose a narrator, and I had this issue also with the narrator that Mila Finelli chose for her Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling and Mafia Madman, that series. The voice she chose for Fausto and for Enzo. The narrator sounded 10, 15 years older than what the age of the character. And so that kind of also throws you off a little bit. It's not a deal breaker, obviously. You get used to it. Again, you get used to it after a few minutes, but it's still like listening. It's almost like you're listening to their dad talk instead of listening to them talk, because the character themselves is only 20 something years old, but you're hearing the voice of what could be a 40-year-old. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So the audio is decent, but I will say that the narrators that were chosen were not my favorite narrators, like of any audiobook I've ever listened to, obviously. But again, decent. I definitely wouldn't have turned it off. Okay. So I listened to this book in audio. And if you are an audio person, I would recommend the audio for this. It's definitely a doable audio. Now, as we do in every video, how many pages? We're going to see how many pages is in this book. According to Amazon, this book has 464 pages. According to Candice, who's physically holding the book, we have 445 pages. I'm not doing this for effect. My nose actually itches. There's rabbit fluff floating in every square inch of this room. So 464 versus 445. Please don't make me math, but that sounds around like 20 pages, roughly. That's like an epilogue. Where'd my epilogue go? Where did my epilogue go? There's a joy killer at Amazon that works at Amazon who's literally just going through all of these books and just deleting epilogues. He's literally just sitting there going, the readers would have loved this epilogue. Extra spicy scene. Delete. Bet. Because I'm missing almost 20 pages of book. And I hate it. I hate it. Every book. I'm not going to have a full-blown meltdown today. I promise you. If I do, it's not going to be about this. So I can't promise that I won't have one. I just promise it won't be about this. Okay. Let's read the blurb, and then we're going to jump into the plot because there's a lot of plot. There's a lot going on in this book. Here we go. The blurb for this one. Sinning never felt so good. A fortuitous encounter. A meeting that should never have happened. Many years ago, two children from completely different worlds forged a connection. A fateful connection. An unbreakable bond that would change their lives forever. Salome knows only one way to live, under Prophet David's rule. In the commune she calls home, Salome knows nothing of life beyond her strict faith, nor of life beyond the fence that cages her, keeps her trapped in an endless cycle of misery. A life she believes she is destined to always lead until a horrific event sets her free. Fleeing the absolute safety of all she has ever known, Salome is thrust into the world outside, a frightening world full of uncertainty and sin, into the protective arms of a person she believes she would never see again. River Styx Nash knows one thing for certain in life. He was born and bred to wear a cut. Raised in a turbulent world of sex, Harleys, and drugs, Styx unexpectedly has the heavy burden of the Hades hangman gavel thrust upon him, and all at the ripe old age of 26, much to his rival's delight. Haunted by a crushing speech impediment, Styx quickly learns to deal with his haters. Powerful fists, an iron jaw, and the skillful use of his trusted German blade has earned him a fearsome reputation as a man not to be messed with in the shadowy world of outlaw MCs. A reputation that successfully keeps most people far, far away. Styx has one rule in life: never let anyone get too close. It's a plan that he has stuck to for years, that is, until a young woman is found injured on his lot. A woman who looks uncannily familiar. A woman who clearly does not belong in his world. Yet a woman he feels reluctant to let go. Okay, it says dark contemporary romance / new adult novel. This is not a new adult novel. Nope. I'm sorry, Tillie, I love you, but no. Okay, so obviously the two main characters for this book are Salome, which for the majority of the book she goes by May, and Styx. In the very beginning of the book, for a very tiny period of time, he goes by the name River, which is his given name. But as I've been told by a lot of people who read a lot of MC romance, the majority of the books, they go by like their outlaw names. So for the majority of the series, he's gone by Styx. So his name is Styx. For the purpose of this review, his name is Styx. Okay, so the beginning of the book. This faded connection that they share begins with a meeting when they're both very young. I think they're like 8 years old, something like that. He is on a trip with his dad to dump a body. His dad being the leader of the Hades hangmen at the time. He's their president, or prez, as they say. And they're in the woods dumping a body at this undisclosed location. Obviously, they're not supposed to be there. They're dumping a body. They're already committing a crime. But it's a little trespassing in the grand scheme of things, right? So there's he wanders off. He's not supposed to get out of the truck, but he does. He wanders off. And he finds a fence, a very big fence. And on the other side of this fence is a small girl who is curled up next to a giant tree, crying. And he tries to engage with her. And this alone is very difficult for him because he has a debilitating speech impediment. It's embarrassing for him. It makes it so that he does not speak to anyone except his father and his best friend Kyler. Now, he feels, when he sees the girl, he feels compelled to talk to her, to find out why she's crying, to ask her name, to just get her to say something, anything to him. She won't speak to him. He tries to force out his words. And when he does this, his speech impediment becomes worse. And under stress, in stressful situations, when he tries to force himself to speak, the way that the author describes it is almost like a python choking him. Like he gets his throat closes up. But he forces himself to talk to her. And she becomes the third person in the history of ever that he's spoken to. And she remains the third and only person that he ever speaks to up until the time that she reappears in his life. So when she finally does talk to him on the other side of the fence, he begs for her name as his father is calling him. And he manages to get her to come to the fence. And they have a moment where he kisses her through the fence. It's his first kiss. It's her first kiss. And neither one of them ever forget about it. And they have a little thing that they do with their hands where they interlock fingers with each other, like index fingers. And this comes back up later in the book. But his father's calling him and he begs for her name. And the only name that she gives him is Sin. And she says, "I'm Sin, we all are." And then she runs off. And that's the only information she gives him. He goes back with his father. And then even over the course of years, he begs his father to tell him the location of where they went with that body, and his father refuses. But then his father dies, and he inherits the title of president of the MC. And the information of where that location was dies with him. So he thinks he will never see that girl again. But for the majority of his life, he has thought about her. He has obsessed over her. His girl with the wolf eyes. She has these oddly colored blue eyes, these bright blue eyes. And she's all he can think about. Yes, he Like, he has sex with, like, the club bitches and whatever. But he, in the back of his mind, she's always there. But he doesn't think that he'll ever see her again. He has searched for her, but he doesn't think he'll ever see her again. Until one day, a woman shows up basically bleeding out in the parking lot of his club, his clubhouse. They bring her inside, and after washing all the dirt off her face, he realizes she looks very familiar, and he doesn't want to hope, but he thinks, could this be her? Because when she opens her eyes are blue, the same color as the girl behind the fence. Over the course of these years, when he's spoken to Kai about her, his best friend Kyler, Kai thought she was a figment of his imagination. Kai thought he was losing it. Now Kai's like, maybe he's not, maybe he hasn't lost it. So Salome, or May, comes from, okay, here we go, backstory. May is from essentially a cult. Tillie went all in on like religious overload on these books. I'm from South Carolina. I live in the Bible Belt. Okay, I've seen my fair share of Bible thumping. And if you listen, I have nothing against people who practice religions. I don't actively go to church. I don't actively follow religion, but I was raised in like a Christian household. I was raised that way. And I have nothing against people who go to church. I have nothing against people who follow religion. But the people, like in these books, who, this is a nightmare, what she's described in these books. So Salome is one of 4 females that are known as the cursed daughters of Eve. She has 2 blooded sisters and 1 non-blooded sister, who she calls her sister, but is not related to her by blood. There is Bella, Delilah, and Maddie. Now, Delilah is the one, or Lila is the one that is not related to her by blood. They believe that they are cursed because they have been literally raised their entire lives to believe this. And they're cursed with extreme beauty. And because of this, they've been told that the devil resides within them, that they're inherently evil because of their beauty, because it provokes men to, it incites lust in men. And because of that, it's the devil working through them. So it's their fault, but it's not their fault. Does that make sense? So because of this, they've been segregated from the rest of their commune, which is what they live in behind the fence. And they've had nothing but each other this entire time. This commune follows very strict scripture that is put out by a prophet named Prophet David. He's a skeevy old man. It's like 70 something years old. And through this scripture, he dictates how they live. Men are obviously the dominant species. Women are there to serve. And they do so by freely giving their bodies in, they share God's love through the act of touching, and right? Okay. The 4 cursed have been, trigger warning, trigger warning, the 4 cursed have been raped and sexually assaulted since they were around the age of 6 by the commune's elders. These are hand-chosen men by Prophet David who have been picked to guide the cursed through their path, like their path of evil, to get them to free them from the evil that inhabits them. And the only way that they can do that is basically by fucking it out of them. Okay? And obviously these grown-ass men will do so in the most sadistic and hurtful way possible. Obviously. So they've been abused their entire lives, which is what had just happened to her for the first time when Styx saw her on the other side of the fence when she was a little girl. She had just been sexually assaulted for the first time in the first of many Lord's joinings. Okay. Hence why she was crying in the woods. Okay. One fateful day, May goes looking for her sister Bella. She hasn't seen Bella in weeks. Where is Bella? I cannot find her. Lila says, I've found her. She's being kept in a cell. Something's happened, and the elder in charge, who is a man by the name of, what the hell's his name? Gabriel, has been punishing her, keeping her in a cell, locked in a cell. They find her, and she's been beaten, starved, clearly sexually assaulted repeatedly, and she's dying on the cell floor. May and Lila make it to the outside of the cell just in time to essentially allow May one last conversation with her sister before she dies. This is a breaking point for May. May says, I can't take it anymore. I can't stay here. We have to run. Let's get Maddie and we'll run. Lila is so brainwashed that she has nothing else. Lila has her own backstory. May, Bella, and Maddie were born believing they were cursed. They were born into the life in this commune. Lila was not. Lila came from a family outside of the commune and was turned over to these men when she reached a certain age. So she wasn't always who she is. But because of that, her backstory is so much more involved, and she has been so brainwashed, and her her psyche is so disjointed that she has nothing but her faith. She has nothing left but her faith. Her family has abandoned her. She has nothing. So she believes every spoonful of shit that she's been fed. So when May says, let's go, she says, no, I can't leave. We can't leave. The outside is evil. We can't go. And May is like, we have to go. We have to. I can't stay here another day. I'll die. Just about that time, here come the elders with their hunting dogs and, oh, they're escaping. Okay, right? May knows she has no choice. She has to leave her sisters behind and she has to run. So she does. She runs. She makes it to the fence. And just as she's getting through the fence, she gets attacked by one of Gabriel's guard dogs. And her leg is torn open. And she's bleeding a lot. She manages to make it through. And she drags herself to a road, like an access road or whatever. There's a car, a truck, an old lady in a truck who gives her a ride. And she doesn't trust the woman because, again, the outside is evil. So she stays in the truck for long enough just to get out to civilization. And then when she sees the first building she sees, she says, let me out here. I know people here. And the woman's like, are you sure you want to be let out here, of all places? And the woman clearly knows something she doesn't. And she's like, yes. So she lets her out. And May manages to make it to the dumpster area of the parking lot before she collapses, which is where she's found. And it happens to be the parking lot of the clubhouse, the MC clubhouse. Here we are, present day. Okay? So, they bring her in and they clean her up. One of the brothers, his name is Ryder, has like medic experience or something. And he patches her up. It patches up her leg. And then she wakes up. And she sees Styx for the first time. And she's in her mind, I know him. Oh my God, I know him. But he was a boy. He's definitely not a boy now. Styx wants to believe that she is who she is. But he's not sure. And he's being told by all the brothers she could be a plant by the FBI. She could be, she could be an infiltrator by the local KKK chapter who they're currently at war with. She could be anybody. Don't trust her. We can't trust her. She needs to go. So he has Kai, he signs, which he uses through the majority of the book, he uses ASL. And Kai is his translator because he only speaks to Kai in private. He does not speak to anyone else. He's known in his chapter and worldwide as the Hangman Mute. And when he kills people, he carves an H in their chest. It's like his signature. And he uses his German blades to cut them like a big smile. Very Joker-like. And that's like his signature kill. So he signs to her, and it's like a big spectacle. And I loved this part. I was like, when I was reading it, I was like, I couldn't put it down. I was like in it. I was like, fuck yes. The first meeting, they know each other. I know they know each other. So I wanted to see how it was going to play out. He has Kai sign, do you know me? How do you know me? And she wants to call him by his given name, River. But she doesn't think that'll go over well because she's heard the men calling him Sticks. And so instead, she opts for the finger gesture that they did at the fence. She walks up to him and she locks index fingers with him. And when she does this, he knows immediately, you're my girl from behind the fence. And he's blown away that he's found her again. And from that moment on, he's ridiculously possessive. Now, there's a lot going on with the club in terms of like enemies and, you know, people out there, like just rivals and things like that. The club makes the majority of their money off of gun trade. There are also, like obviously a lot of hanger-on bitches that like hang around the club and, that just service the brothers, for lack of a better term. And so there is one, what she refers to as club slut, in the book that is clearly in love with Sticks, but he doesn't have any love for her. For him, it's always been May. She's been like this girl's been a placeholder for May his entire life, even though they grew up together. She was the daughter of a brother who died, like years ago. And so they grew up together as kids, and this girl's been in love with him for a long time, but she's not May. So you do have some elements of like a love triangle going on there, but at one point Sticks has to go on a run for business for the club, and he leaves May in the care of one of the brothers, Ryder. Ryder is the one who patched her up when she first came to the club. He doesn't trust any of the other brothers with May. He trusts Ryder because he's never seen Ryder with a woman. Anytime there are like women that come to the club for sex, Ryder will excuse himself. He doesn't ever engage with any of the women. They don't know what his deal is, but they don't really give him shit for it. He's quiet and reserved, and they know they think he's been through some shit. So they think that through like his tours in Afghanistan where he was a medic, that he just saw some shit. And so they're like, you know, just leave him be, basically. So Sticks has to have Kai come with him for the run. So he says, I'm leaving her with Ryder. Ryder, you stay behind and you watch her. Ryder doesn't want to. Ryder at first is very hesitant to do that because he's like, doesn't want, it appears as if he doesn't want anything to do with May. And at first it's not apparent why. Over the course of the time that he's keeping an eye on her while Styx is gone, it becomes clear why he didn't want anything to do with May. And it's because he begins to develop feelings for May. And it was at this point in the book where I was like legitimately falling in love with him. And I was just like, oh God. Oh, but I love them both now. I mean, like, obviously I want her to end up with Styx, but now I need, what's gonna happen with the writer? He needs his own book now. He has to have his own book now. So, I was messaging my friend who sent me the book. I was like, if anything happens to him, I will die. If anything happens to Ryder, I will die. I will burn this world to the ground. I can't take another Gianna mute situation. If she kills him, I will riot. Okay? And of course, she just laughed because she was like, I'm not telling you shit. So until Styx comes back, they have several moments where it's clear that he's in love with her, that he's falling in love with her. And there are also several moments where it appears as though she may have feelings for him as well, or that she's getting close to him also. But then Styx comes back. And when Styx comes back, that connection is re-cemented. And Ryder becomes very hostile, openly hostile, argumentative, insubordinate. And him and Styx start going at it, like legitimately going at it. And it causes a huge problem within the club. Up until the point when it becomes very clear that there is a rat within the club that is feeding information to the local like neo-Nazi KKK chapter who is essentially like attacking the club. They go out for like a picnic, a club, like as a unit. They just go out for a nice day at one of like the local national parks or state parks or whatever. And while they're there, they get attacked in like a drive-by type situation, but by a bunch of skinheads. And the girl who was in love with Styx gets murdered right in front of May. And it's very traumatic. And they manage to get everybody back to the club. And later, Styx, after going out on a ride with May, he sees a truck, clearly not another truck full of Nazis, scoping out the clubhouse. He sends May inside and he follows them on his bike alone. He tells May to have Kai call him to get, or text him to get the directions to wherever it is they're going. He plans on following them to their hideout so that he can send the brothers directions so that they can meet him to come basically attack them. Because up to this point, they don't know where they're hiding out. Clearly a stupid move. You should never go anywhere alone, but he does it anyway. May goes inside. Kai is clearly pissed off. He tries to call Styx. Styx's cell phone is dead. He doesn't pick up. Then he doesn't come back. Hours pass, and he doesn't come back. They go out looking for him, and they can't find him. After hours and hours and hours have passed, they start to think that he's been captured and killed. And everybody is like freaking the fuck out. And it's about this time that Styx shows back up on his bike, barely alive. And Ryder, even though him and Styx have beef, obviously, saves his life and patches him up. After that, they get into another fight over May. And it comes out that the little prospect that has been serving them drinks and working in the club for the last year has been feeding information to the Nazis. They find incriminating evidence in his room. So the guys take him out, and he denies everything. They take him out back to the shed torture house thing, and they kill him. They kill the little prospect. It's around this time that Ryder kind of just completely goes off the deep end. He can't be around May and Styx anymore. He can't see them together. It's literally killing him. He volunteers to go on a run for Styx, for the club, and he leaves, and he's gone for 2 months. During this time, May misses him terribly, because the entire time that Styx was gone on his run before, she grew very close to him. She considered him her best friend, because the entire time she was afraid to leave her room. She was afraid of the outside world. Everything was overstimulating. Everything was evil. She had to acclimate to everything in the world slowly. And he was the constant thing that was okay, right? So she considered him her best friend. And now that he hates her, I mean, he loves her, but he hates her. He can't stand to be around her. Now that he can't stand to be around her, it's hurting her. And she understands, but she doesn't understand. And she misses him. So when he gets back from his run, she goes looking for him. And she finds him in his bedroom with a woman in a sexual way. The woman's giving him a blowjob. This is very un-Ryder-like, because Ryder doesn't do sexual stuff with women. They've talked about it. And Ryder, up to this point, it's kind of been alluded to that Ryder may have come from a similar type background as May. That somewhere in his history, there's something about him that there's some part of his history that was rooted in the church or in cult life. Maybe he came from another cult, or maybe he came from another commune or something, because he recognizes like the scripture that's tattooed on her arm, and he like recites it from memory when they first find her. And he's very reserved, and he tells her in one of their confident conversations that the reason that he's never been with a woman, or the reason that he's never with a woman, is because he's never been with a woman. His body is pure, and he wants to keep it that way until marriage, that he's a virgin. And so when she finds him with this woman, she freaks out, and she's like, she gets mad. She tells the woman to get the fuck out, basically. The woman leaves, scampers away, and she's like, what are you doing? This is not you. And he's clearly drunk and stumbling on himself. And he's like, essentially, get out of my face. I don't want to hear it. Like, you run back to Styx. And they fight. And then Styx gets involved in the fight. He finds them in a very compromising position, because clearly Ryder has just been interrupted in the middle of a sexual experience. So he's half dressed. And then in the midst of an argument, he drunkenly tries to feel May up and kiss her, which then gets interrupted by Styx and looks very much like they've been going at it. And so she has to then explain to Styx, no, that's not the case. But either way, Ryder is fucked. So he's kicked out of the MC. They basically tell him, Styx tells him, get the fuck out. If I see you again, I'll kill you. And during this time when he's essentially getting the shit beat out of him and thrown out, he openly professes his love for May and says, come with me. Don't stay here with him. Come with me. I love you. I want to be with you. Come with me. And she tells him to his face, no, like it's always been Styx. It will always be Styx. And that proves to Styx, obviously, that nothing happened between her and Ryder, but it breaks Ryder. It hurts him badly. He leaves, and that breaks her heart as well, because she's just lost her best friend. And it broke my heart too, because I loved him. I love him so much. Shortly after that, everyone needs like a break. Everybody needs to just get away for like a day. And they decide, we're gonna go on a ride. Everybody's gonna go on a ride out. Everyone except for May and Styx, they want to be left alone. They need some quiet time. So they stay behind at the club while everyone else goes on a ride. Well, it's during this time that the club gets attacked by what they think is another group of Nazis. But it turns out that it's not another group of Nazis, because when they remove their hoods, it turns out to be Brother Gabriel and the other elders from the commune. who have been working hand in hand with the Nazis to essentially destroy the hangman, with the assistance of their inside rat, who turns out to not be the prospect that they killed, but Brother Cain, Prophet David's nephew, who it's revealed at this juncture goes by the name Ryder. Yeah. So it's at this point where I was just like, oh, really? Oh, really? You a bad boy. You have been bad. So they beat the shit out of Styx, tie him up, crucifixion style, and kidnap May. Take May back to the commune, where she's told in public, like around others, that she is prophesied to marry Prophet David and become one of his many wives. Prophet David being the old skeevy dude. However, in private, she's told by Ryder, aka Brother Cain, that all the feelings that he had for her were real. And if she would be with him, he would take her and run. He is willing to forego his faith for her. And it's at this point that she reveals to him, in her anger, everything that was done to her as a child. And it's very apparent that he knew nothing of how the order worked in terms of raping small children and all of the abuse that she suffered. He had no idea any of that was going on. And he's enraged. And it's very clear that he's confused and torn in two between his faith and what he feels like is his duty to his uncle and his commune and his people. And he's torn between that and what he's learned on the outside and his common sense and his love for May. And you can tell that he's a bad guy, but deep down, maybe not a bad guy. He's done bad things, for sure, but maybe not a bad guy. So the men come back from their run, or from their ride out, right? And they find Styx, barely alive, beaten, toe up, crucified. And he says they've taken May. It was those cult motherfuckers. Okay. They have my woman. I have to go. We're going after them. Call in the men from the other chapters. How quickly can we get them here? He knows that they can't go in with just the numbers they have. They need more men. The commune has a shit ton of weapons because they've been moving in on the gun trade. That's essentially what their ultimate goal has been, to move in on the hangman's gun trade so that they can expand their current commune. And so they have weapons and they have men. And so Styx knows that they need more men. So he calls in all the other chapters. And at this point in the book, the men come in and he's giving a speech via Kai in sign language. And it's this moment when he realizes that he has to speak up in defense of his woman, to rally the men to go get his woman. And for the first time in ever, he forces himself to say out loud, like a sentence worth of speech, basically saying, they took my woman, go get her back. And everyone is stunned speech. They're all stunned. But it's like, whoa, fuck yes, let's go get them. And it's like blood, it causes like bloodlust in all the men. While that's happening, they have to find the location of the commune. And they know, if anyone knows where it is, it's going to be the governor, because the governor is in their pocket, basically. So they go to the governor's house and they decide they're gonna basically home invasion him. They walk in on the governor in bed with a young boy. And they're like, whoa. And the governor's like, you can't tell anybody about this. And they're like, well, we won't. When I say young boy, I don't think he was an underage boy, but like a teenage, like a barely legal. The governor's not supposed to be gay, clearly. And he says, okay, I'll tell you where it is. It's this parcel of land. And he shows them where it is in exchange for their silence. And so they rally the men and they leave to go invade the compound. While all of this is taking place, May is being prepped for her wedding to Prophet David. Cain, as he's known now, has come to her beseeching for her to run away with him. And she's basically told him to go fuck himself. You've betrayed me. I don't know who you are. My friend Ryder is gone. You're a liar. You're a rat. Get out of my face. Right? So she's on her way to the altar when the men, the hangmen, storm the compound. They kill the prophet. This causes pandemonium, obviously. Prophet David's dead. The first thing that Cain does is grab May and make a run for it. He's like, I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to get you to safety. You're not trying to get her to safety. You're trying to get her away from Styx. We know what you're doing, but okay. So he drags her through the woods. halfway through the woods, they're met with one of the cult elders, one of his own people. Where are you taking her? Where are you taking the cursed one? Cain's like, fuck. And he has to make a decision. Do I turn her over? What do I do? And so he looks at her and he knows in that split second that he loves her too much to send her back. And he kills the elder in order to facilitate their escape. He kills one of his own people. And it's at this point where they hear the men closing in, the hangmen closing in. And Cain is like, they're gonna kill me. And I deserve it because of everything that I did. And she tells him to run. She says, I love you. You're my best friend. I don't love you the way that I love Styx, but I do love you. And I don't want you to die. For me, run. At first he won't run, but then she says, for me, do it for me, run. Save your own life, run. And he does, he runs. And she goes back because she knows she has to go back for her sisters. She's like, I can't leave them again. And so he runs and she goes back. Which is where Styx and the other men find her at the cell where Maddie and Lila have been locked up in the same cell where Bella died. And Styx finds them there, cornered by the other elders who had abused Maddie and Lila. They kill the elders right in front of them. Or right in front of May. She's hunched down and Styx is like, touches her and she flinches to get away because she's like, what the fuck? But then she realizes that it's him. And they have their like epic reuniting moment, and it's very sweet. And then she calls her sisters out of the cell. And when they come out, it's another moment because Kai sees Lila. And it's like a punch to the gut for him. And okay, that's gonna be the one for him. And Maddie comes out of the cell. Maddie is her youngest sister. And she's the one who was tortured the most by the most sadistic elder in the commune. And this elder was killed and basically hung up onto a tree, by Flame, one of the brothers who has big time issues, like psychological issues. He can't stand to be touched. You cannot touch him. He's also like a cutter. Again, trigger warning. Maddie comes out of the cell and she sees the elders dead on the ground. And she says, where is the other one? Is he dead? And they point to the trees. And she goes to the tree line to look. She wants to see for herself that he's dead. And she does. And then she comes back. And she wants to know which one of the men killed him. And at first everyone's like, oh, she's getting ready to flip out. She's going to reprimand somebody. Because they assume she's been just as brainwashed as Lila. Because Lila is freaking out. You killed our elders. You killed the prophet. You killed... These men are evil. Okay, so she's clearly still Stockholm syndromed. Okay. Maddie wants to know which one of the brothers killed him. And she goes down the line until she reaches Flame. And she's like, was it you? And Flame is like, yeah, I killed him. And what? He doesn't say and what. I'm paraphrasing. And what? And she breaks down and throws herself at him. And he lets her touch him. And she thanks him for setting her free. And it's a big moment. And in that moment, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that their book would be my favorite. And I was like, all right. Okay, so that's it. That's whatever book I have to get up to get to that one. I have to, even if the ones in between are not good, for whatever reason, I have to push through to get to that one. Because that one's gonna be my favorite. I already know. So yeah, they take the sisters back to the clubhouse. And Styx and they'll basically live happily ever after at the end. The end. An hour and 24 minutes later. Okay. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to remember I'm trying to see if I forgot anything. I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's things I forgot, but after an hour and a half, do you need to know them? I've given you plenty, I think. For the rating for the book, I would give it a solid 9. I loved this book. It may make me sound like a fucking weirdo. And it may make me sound like I'm objectifying people with disabilities. Because it definitely makes it sound like that's what I'm doing. But I have a very strong attraction to novels that feature main characters that have some type of like auditory disability, like whether they're deaf, selectively mute, like also like blindness. Give me a main male character who's blind. I don't know why I find that so attractive. It's something about the way that the author writes the story to allow them to make a connection on another level outside of being able to rely on their appearance, describing the way they look to each other. Or in the case of someone being deaf, like the author having to write the characters so that they have to work their way around, that it makes for a deeper connection, in my opinion. And it makes me, I don't know, it just makes me feel it more. And because of that, I literally attach myself to novels like that and characters like that. And it doesn't even have to be the main male character. The main female character could be deaf or blind or whatever. I don't know why. I just find it so much, I find those books so much, just like so appealing. They're just so appealing to me. I love them. I don't know why. Anyway. But yeah, I loved Styx. I loved him having to like push his way past his speech impediment in order to communicate with the woman he was falling in love with. It just made for such a deeper connection. And God, I fucking love it. I love it so much. Anyway, if there was one thing I dislike about these books, and I have been told that apparently this is universal across a lot of MC romance novels, it's the main male characters referring to their women as bitches. Referring to club sluts as club sluts, or referring to the women, the loose women that hang around the club as bitches. That's, I can deal with that. That's fine. Even referring to the women, that the woman that you're in love with as my bitch to your brothers, once or twice in an offhanded way, like when they're not around, I can deal with that. Saying it to the woman's face, telling her that she's your bitch, saying shit like, I've never had a bitch like you. I ain't never had a bitch like you. No, I'm not a fan. And these books, they refer to them as bitches a lot. And I think if there was one downside, that one thing that I found that irked me about them, I think that would be it. But obviously it's not a big enough of an irk that it made me stop reading the books. So here we are. Here we are on book 3. So there we go. I think that's it. I'm done. An hour and a half later. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. If you're interested in purchasing some of my bookish related, I was going to say Burkish. No, that's wrong. If you're interested in purchasing some of my bookish related merch, you can do so by visiting my spring shop, which I will link in the description box below, and I'll put a little link here on the screen for you guys to see. And I think that's it. I thank you guys so much for sticking with me for another video. I know it has been long-winded as fuck. I'm sorry for that. Same time again next week. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. La 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 la. Oh, God. Okay. All right. I'm not sure when this video is going to upload. It might be the week of Christmas. It might be the week after Christmas, but I'm filming the week before Christmas. So let's just say I'm a wee bit stressed out. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of What Is My Boo. Let's do our intro, shall we? We're just gonna dive right in because we're gonna bust this one out. We're gonna bust it out, okay? Why does my light seem so bright today? I don't know. Am I just really pale? It's the lipstick, isn't it? I bet it is. Plus my color's starting to wash, which is fine because I think I'm gonna change it soon anyways. But you're not here to talk about my hair, are ya? Even though we always seem to end up fucking with my hair, don't we? Yeah, we do. Let's make sure there's no lipstick on my teeth. Okay. Good, okay. Let's get started, shall we? Yes. Before we do, yes, I am wearing my Hunting Adeline shirt, which I'll be seeing you soon. I'm gonna try not to flash you. Little mouse. Yes, this shirt is available in my spring shop if you're interested. This is gonna go in bloopers anyway, so you won't see this till the end, which is fine, it doesn't matter. I swear to God, he knows when I start recording. Tis the season to be jolly. Someone's not getting anything in their stocking. Freckles. Don't you hate that? Yes, I know you can buy lipstick that doesn't do that, but I'm cheap and I don't. I'm not made of money, okay? Listen, I'm not made of money. You done? Are you done? Is thou done? Okay, good. All right. Now we can begin. 3 minutes into the fucking video already. All right. Anyway. Many years ago, two children from completely different worlds forged a connection, a fated... Okay. Candice, you idiot. All right. Let's try that again, shall we? And are you talking to me? Oh, I love you too. I heard a little creepy. I love you. To the door. Oh my God. It ain't me, babe. It is you, Sticks. It is you. I love you. I love you so much. You're my everything. I'm so thirsty. My lipstick is literally like faded, completely faded out. Patchy as fuck. Patchy AF. Anyway, we're gonna go now because we've been recording for an hour and a half and this is some bullshit, so we're gonna go now. Did we have any bloopers in this one? swear to God, this rabbit is gonna be the death of me. Like, this has been going on for how long? Another one down, another one down, another one bites the dust. And I'm done. And I'm done. And I'm done. Okay.